of his thought in terms of theses. So the first thesis is what we can call rationalization thesis. So he is known for rationalization thesis, and he's known for the other thesis, which is called Protestant ethics thesis. Okay. Now, rationalization thesis is about the origin of modernity. So what is modernity, and how is it different from pre-modern worldviews and civilization? So he explains it through his thesis, through the concept of rationalization. Okay. And Protestant ethics thesis is basically about explain the origins of and the meaning of capitalism and why it emerged in certain civilization and cultural backgrounds and not the others, etc. So, and that tells us about his notion of what capitalism is as well. So we don't need to go too much into what rationalization thesis is and what Protestant ethics thesis is, but we need to give a quick summary of those theses so you have some idea of what his views are. Obviously, we'll need more time to define if we wanted to understand what rationalization thesis is, but in a nutshell, we can say that rationalization is a historical process, you can drive through which you're trying to create a world in which, in his own words, everything can be, in principle, mastered through master everything, all the things, by calculation. And calculation is a general mean for the dominance of a form of rationality, where you use reason as a tool to master the object. So rationalization is the process in which a man and a civilization treat the world, the whole world, not with reverence of the medieval and ancient civilization, but as an object to be mastered. So man can become the lord of the world and things in the world, in the sense that they are subservient to his will and wishes and desire, through the use of reason, a particular type of reason, what some people have called instrumental rationality or means ends reason. But basically he said that if you use a calculative rationality, modern rationality, scientific rationality, you can become the lord of the world, you can master the world, you can master the objects in the world in a way in which it becomes subservient to your desires. And this process of rationalization is what defines modernity. And then he goes on to try to understand why this type of rationality was successful in the West and not in the other part of the world, at least not in the 19th and 20th century, at the start of the 20th century. So this is the rationalization thesis. Okay. Now, what about the Protestant ethics? Now we come to Protestant ethics thesis. And the Protestant ethics thesis is obviously closely related to the first thesis, but we'll try to define it in its own term. The Protestant ethics thesis gives the reason for the emergence of capitalism, and basically define capitalism as well, in a sense, because certain understanding of capitalism is inherent in the thesis itself. Okay, so what's the thesis, Protestant ethics thesis? So basically, we can understand Protestant ethics thesis as saying that in order for capitalism to emerge, what you needed was a revolution in religious thinking, because we had religious and you can say philosophical thinking as well. And before capitalism, religion and philosophies basically on ethical and religious grounds treated this world as something transient, not worthy of our attention for its own sakes. Based on that, they ethically rejected the value of accumulation for the sake of accumulation. Accumulation, for example, in Christianity, uh, the love of wealth and all those things are, treated as sins. So you don't try to make money for its own sake or to accumulate the material goods for its own sake. And obviously, you don't compete. You don't compete for that. So competing for the worldly gain and more money than the others is treated as sin as well, in traditional Christianity, for example. This had to be changed in order for capitalism to emerge, because capitalism is an idea that we seek accumulation for the sake of accumulation. We make more money in order to make more money. So that is something good in itself. So that was rejected by religion and philosophies before the modern world. In the modern world, Protestantism, for example, said that, making money, accumulating wealth, and doing good in this world and treating the world, accumulating the worldly gains for its own sake is not a sin, but it is a sign of that you are the elect of God, that God loves you. So making more money is not a sin. On the contrary, it is the sign that you are the beloved of God. So that sort of thinking was important to overcome the stigma attached to seeking the world for its own sake, rather making it actually a virtue that you accumulate for wealth for its own sake. Accumulation and uh, competing for accumulation became virtues, and they were, and then afterward, secular ethics emerged, which sort of defended these virtues based on ideas of efficiency, etc., etc. So that's the Protestant ethics thesis. Okay,